We are a couple of housekeeping things. One, we have reached over 100 members on Skool, so really happy with that. That's awesome. And for those of you guys who are watching this, if you are on Instagram or TikTok or YouTube or wherever else we're posting this and you're not a member of our Skool community, highly encourage you to join. It's a really, really cool group of people, a group of families that are just, their heart is to try to figure out to learn more how best to help their kids at home, particularly if they struggle with neurodivergent kids, and figuring out a way to make their home, those four walls of the home, the most healing four walls that they experience. We just have a belief that we don't believe that the only healing happens in the four walls of a clinic. We believe it should happen here at home. So we're trying to help you guys build that as best as possible. A couple other, I guess, tactical housekeeping things would be that we know that a lot of the people that are joining and watching these things found us through one of our most viral videos that we had. Put yourself in mic too.
Thank you.
Do you know how to do this? You got it?
I'm new.
You guys found us through one of our most viral videos of James's story. So for a lot of you guys, maybe you have no idea how chiropractic even works or what chiropractic is. And so we just thought that today's video, today's call would be a really important opportunity for us to just share light and shed light on like what it is and what it isn't. Talk about some important concepts in the chiropractic world of how it applies to health and healing and what you can understand about your child's neurology and nervous system. So we're going to talk about something called innate intelligence today. And I have a couple guests with me. I got my beautiful wife, Tori, and who is also, by the way, Tori could have been a chiropractor if she wanted to, but she told me when we were in school that the feeling of making an adjustment happen where it pops was the same feeling she gets when she steps on a cockroach.
It's true.
So
and I think that's like a negative core memory I have was accidentally stepping on a cockroach when I was in 7th grade.
So I don't think
chiropractic's out of the question.
She stopped that trajectory of her life
before it even began.
However, in her head, in her mind, she is a true chiropractic advocate, and honestly, she knows more about chiropractic than most chiropractors. So I'm happy to have her here. And then also this little baby Nicholas.
Hello.
8 weeks old. 9 weeks old in 2 days, right?
Wow. No, what? 8 weeks.
Oh, he's 8 weeks.
Yeah, but he's 2
old
months
in 2
today.
days. Okay, something like that.
Today.
Cut that. No, I'm kidding. All right. Okay, so the topic today I think is one of the, my favorite things to talk about is something called innate intelligence. And I want to keep this as practical as we can because we could go into like deep-seated neurology and nerdiness, but I think it's helpful to remember like having an understanding of innate intelligence, which we'll explain in a minute, actually changes how you live your life, like how you navigate the world around you, because it literally shapes your worldview. And I think it's an extremely important thing to share. So first of all, let's just define it. So what is innate intelligence? Innate intelligence is the inborn intelligence of the body that is designed to keep you alive and adapting to your environment to the best of your ability. And it lives in a particular part of your nervous system, or your life, which is your nervous system, right? So innate intelligence is it's like literally the thing that when it's hot and you start to sweat, that adaptable nature that is ingrained in the human body is the expression of innate intelligence. So if you have an issue with adapting to your environment, you will get detrimental effects from it, and that would be a sign that your life expression is basically hindered. And so if you want to think about it as like all life has intelligence, so like a plant has intelligence, and the inborn intelligence that it has is designed to adapt to its world around it, which is why you'll see that plants will change their leaves and animals will act differently in certain environments, and that's just ingrained in them. It's what God has given to all his creation. But in humans, we have this innate intelligence as well, And it's often forgotten, particularly in the mainstream medical world, that it even exists. And we instead operate in a worldview that is basically saying we are born either fractured or broken or missing pieces or lacking, and that we need the addition of mainstream medicine or other things in order to make us whole again so that we can live in the world that we're in. And we just wholeheartedly reject that, right? So like when we operate in the realm of raising kids, particularly like as a mom, you're gonna have to, learn how do you navigate the world of, if your child falls and scrapes their knee, how do you interact with them? What do you speak to them? How do you say things to them in a way that doesn't ultimately reshape their worldview, right? Because whether you think about it or not, whether you know it or not, you are. Like how you talk to your kids and what you instill in them early on actually instills them the worldview they're going to have as they get older. And we as, believers of innate intelligence, if you want to call it, which is again just God's given intelligence into us, is we want our kids to know that we are designed to heal, we're designed to adapt to our world around us, and we are always expressing that innate intelligence to the best of our ability. The only thing that is limiting in that would be something called limitation of matter, which we'll get into in a little bit. But for example, let's get real practical, right? So we have Alice, we have our oldest, she's a 4-year-old. We were walking yesterday, right? And the stroller hit something on her foot or hit something on your foot or something, was it like? And she was like,
yeah.
How did that go?
Yeah, I think the stroller, or you stepped on my foot or something.
Yeah.
I was harmed. By someone pushing the stroller unmindfully. And so I was like, ow! And shooting death glares at my sweet husband. Mm-hmm. And Alex goes, "It's okay, Mom. It'll heal."
Yeah.
Like, it's okay. Don't be mad at Daddy. It'll heal. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Because that's what we tell her,
Yeah.
So when she cuts herself and scrapes and she's scared because she sees blood or something like that, we say, don't worry. Like, you're healing. Like, you're not sick. You're healing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You're not hurt. You're healing.
Yeah. So that can extend to, obviously a very small situation of stubbing your toe or whatever, but when you get into more complex things where you have a chronic illness or you have a very serious injury of some sort, the philosophy doesn't change. Like, the innate intelligence is still there. Our bodies are still designed to adapt to that environment as best as it is able to. And so when we are expressing the life that God has given us, we will always express it to the best of whatever its limit is. And the only thing that will limit that will be something called limitation of matter. And this is the reality of living in a sinful, fallen world, is that we will have limitations in our matter. And by matter, meaning our being, our person, right? And this doesn't have to be like a woo-woo thing. It's literally like the flesh and bones of your body. Like, there are limits, right? So some people are born with, deformed limbs or born with dysfunction in the body that they can't overcome. And the innate intelligence will express 100% of that limitation of matter. But it's never the fact that the innate intelligence is faulted. Like, the innate intelligence is always working at 100%. It'll always just hit up to the point of that limitation of matter. And so when you have a presentation where you are presented with a trauma, an emotional trauma, a physical trauma, a chemical trauma, your body will do its very best to adapt to it. And meaning the symptoms that you will see is really your body's best adaptation to that moment.
Yeah. One of the best things I heard about this was from Dr. Tom Cowan, and I don't think he necessarily calls it innate intelligence, but his question was, whenever he's an MD, whenever he's presented with a patient and they have some sort of symptom, he asks himself, why is this symptom the best thing that their body can do right now? Mm-hmm. So he's not looking at the symptom as a problem, right? He's looking at it as like an explanation or kind of like a puzzle piece. Like, why is it that this person, the best thing for this person's body to do right now is to have high blood pressure.
Yep.
The best thing for this person's body is to,
cough or have mucus,
whatever that is,
have a fever.
So if you start thinking about symptoms like that, it totally changes your viewpoint, because it's not, the symptom itself isn't the problem, right?
Yeah. It's your body's best adaptation.
Yeah.
And we may not like that, right?
Yeah.
Like the adaptation might be that you have 104 fever.
Right.
So do you react to slow the fever down, to tamp the fever down, or do you just let the body do what it's going to do? And ultimately what we will say to you is, it is up to you, particularly if this is your kid, and you know, that can be scary and you have to make those decisions on your own. What we would encourage you to just think about is not to view the disease as an entity in and of itself. So this might get a little woo-woo, but I don't want it to sound like this. Disease is literally the lack of health. Just like darkness is the lack of light and cold is the lack of heat. So when you see a disease, it's not a thing to kill or a thing to get rid of. It is the evidence that health has depleted. And so we need to do what we can to build health up so that we will end up getting rid of disease or dysfunction. So it's like a hole. We have to fill the hole up, and then you'll be fine, to the best of your ability, right? So the problem is that we live in a world that will vilify disease, will make it a thing to try to squash, try to get rid of, try to eliminate. And what that ultimately is a worldview. It's a worldview difference that they view you as a neutral human, and then you get added on top of you this problem, this disease, this issue. You drew the short stick, and unfortunately you now have this problem.
And if you don't have it, they're gonna find it. So that's why, even starting from pregnancy, right? They want to do all these genetic tests. You're perfectly fine. Your pregnancy's healthy. Everything's great. They're like, let's find a problem.
Yeah.
And we're gonna find something, and there's a very low likelihood that it actually is a problem, but then we're going to do the next test and the next test. So the worldview is that there's a problem waiting to be found, and let's go find it, instead of counseling the pregnant mom on diet and health, preconception health and exercise, things like that.
Yeah.
So
and we would say honestly, the demographic that gets hit the hardest with this, the consequences of living in this worldview would be pregnancy and pediatrics, because it's just a very emotional time of your life, so you're very vulnerable, and so you're susceptible to just taking advice from anybody who has an authoritative cultural authority over you, and so it's very easy to fall into that. And so you'll basically just seek out somebody that's telling you anything that you think would potentially help you or protect you or whatnot, and so you're in a state where you're kind of just, you'll follow the direction, you'll follow the lead, and it's risky, because there's a lot of people that are trying to lead you and they shouldn't, and we believe they're leading you astray, and they're causing trouble. So so I think one of the biggest the important thing for us to instill into our patients and our team members is, when we have these conversations, is just remember that when you see the issue, when you see a problem, if you have a fever, or literally your back hurts or whatever, something small or something big, it's never, the issue is never a thing in and of itself. It is just the lack of health. And so when we approach things salutogenically. So there's another big word. So there's salutogenic, and then there's allopathic. So allopathic is what the worldview that we all live in is. It's like the mainstream medical worldview, which, if you break the word down, allo means opposite, and pathic is disease. And so it'd be like striving to create the opposite of that disease, which would be, if I have a headache, we take an Advil to get rid of the headache. Or if I have back pain, you take anti-inflammatories.
It's one problem, one solution.
Yeah.
That's how they can sell pills.
Oh yeah.
Right?
It's an extremely lucrative way to...
So one problem, one solution. The solution is always a medication or a surgery, right?
Yeah.
That's what the allopathic model is.
Yeah. And honestly, what ends up happening is that, you can look at this with the cholesterol world, right? So back in the day, it was, 300, if your cholesterol numbers was 300, you were okay. If you were above that, you're not okay, and you might have heart disease. And then they found out that cholesterol and heart disease really had nothing to do with each other, right? So you can have very high cholesterol and very low cholesterol. It didn't impact whether or not you were going to have heart disease. And then what they ended up saying, well, okay, it wasn't cholesterol, it was the ratio between HDL and LDL. That's actually the problem. And then they were like, well, you have to take this medication in order to increase the HDL, lower the LDL. And then they were like, oh, well, they found out that wasn't the problem. So actually, it's not that. It's actually LDL-C, not just LDL. And so they keep just like they just try to find that one problem, one solution, and they keep tripping over their own selves because it's actually not the situation. Like it's such a, I don't know, Ponzi scheme, or if you want to call it whatever. It's a mess. And that is the repercussions of living in an allopathic worldview. The salutogenic worldview would have never approached it that way. It would have been like, okay, if the goal is to reduce heart disease, then we have to rethink the goal. The goal isn't
what makes the heart healthy.
Yeah, it's the goal is not reduce heart disease. The goal is make you healthy, make the whole system healthy. Not even just the heart. But if we're looking at the heart, what is the thing that makes the heart healthy?
Yeah, so you're studying what makes the heart healthy rather than what makes the heart sick.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and we can see that same thing happening with the kids that we see in the office, a lot of neurodivergent kids. So in that case, we're not really talking about the heart, we're talking about the brain, right? And so then they'll say, well, they're nonverbal. And so the first thing they go to is speech therapy, right? Because we're not speaking. Therefore, what is the opposite of not speaking would be speaking. So then allopathically, we're going to address this with speech therapy. And for those of you guys who've been down that route, you know that is not very effective. You run into so many roadblocks because it's not the actual root of the problem, and solving the solution allopathically will almost always run you into roadblocks.
Yeah, I think like ADHD and ADD is a really good example because we know that like their body is in fight or flight, right? And how, if you were being chased by a tiger, would you want to be basically hyperactive? Right? Yeah. Like, yes, that's a good thing. So the body, that's an example of the body using innate intelligence to adapt appropriately, right? Yeah. So it's not ideal to have, an ADD, ADHD child in school because they're not being chased by a tiger, right? So we need to, instead of giving them a medication, a pill, we need to figure out, okay, like, how can we make them healthy? How can we calm their nervous system down so that they can realize they're actually not being chased by a tiger?
Yeah.
But also, when they are being chased by a tiger, that they will respond appropriately.
Yeah.
You don't want to just, chill them out to the extent where then that's also a problem.
And it should just be answering that question of like, why is this the best scenario why is this the best case scenario for my child or for myself in this particular health instance, right? Because we see so many kids who come in and, their brain development has had so many traumatizing events to the point that where they are at today, the way it presents would be like, okay, they're nonverbal, they're self-injurious behavior, they're completely defiant, they have extreme tics, or they have habitual actions and that lead them to basically being completely socially inept. Well, we can view that as all 5 different diagnoses because they will do that. I mean, we get people call in and they're like, they have I just named, I learn a different diagnosis every week because they come out with another one all the time, but just like they're just labeling what's showing up as the presentation of the child. But all of that, if you were to peel the layers back, was just because there was brain development struggles all the way to the point of today. And what we are observing is the child's best adaptation to what it's been given. And so ultimately what we want to do is peel those layers back and go back from the beginning. How do we rebuild the brain development with proper nervous system integration, proper signals, and then maybe some coaching at home to help support the health of their nature, decreasing inflammation through whatever we can get rid of and adding healthy things. And you'll see that, I mean, we see it all the time. It just like snowballs to the point where you start seeing, okay, this nonverbal kid is now babbling, or they weren't looking people in the eyes, but now they are. And now we're at the point where they're like coming back, and we have parents that are saying like, I found my child again. Yeah. And it's like, well, your child was there. They were just presenting to the best that they could.
Right.
And now we're giving them the best resources possible so that they can present to the best that they can now, which is what you're saying.
Because otherwise it makes no sense. Because like when you adjust a child who's nonverbal and become verbal, did you adjust their tongue?
No.
No?
I did not.
Okay. So how does that work? You know?
Right. Yeah, because I mean, we'll have these conversations with like your dad and your uncle that were in town today, and they were like, you know, what are you doing to help with these kids? It's like, I'm not
and
adjusting.
They're engineers, right? So that's a scenario where one problem, one solution works very well.
Yeah.
Right? When you're working with dead objects.
Yeah.
Right? When you're working with plastic and steel and stuff. Like it's dead. There is no innate intelligence in it.
Correct.
So one problem, one solution works very well. But when you're working with an alive being with God-given innate intelligence, that's actually not the answer.
Yeah, they're used to being the mechanism by which the solution is changed, right? So if it's like this bolt and this screw need to happen, so I need to be the one that connects it, and when I do that, it creates this. That is when you're dealing with non-innate intelligence. We do nothing to take credit for the removal of symptoms or promotion in health, because their body is already doing that. We just remove interference. So the same adjustment that I'm giving to your dad's low back pain would be if you were to just replicate that and push that into this child, even though it may not be the same bone at the right, same time or whatever, the adjustment in a sense is identical with its purpose of just removing something gets better, this person's speech returns or eye contact will come back. So like it's such a I don't know, it's such a refreshing. It kind of takes the weight off of my shoulders in a sense. I'm not the one taking credit for your child's healing. Your child is healing because their nervous system is not regulated, and you're able to do the things that you were designed to do. So that's how we, constantly teach our
parents. And it's
regulated
regulated because it's able to regulate itself. He's not regulating the nervous system for you, right? No one is. The nervous system should be able to regulate itself.
Yeah, even one concept even further that a lot of chiropractors will get wrong is I'm not technically correcting subluxation. I'm adjusting subluxation. And the innate intelligence of the body is correcting it.
What is subluxation?
A subluxation is the misalignment of the nervous system impacting it in a detrimental way. Whereas subluxation is a misalignment in the nervous system that is affecting it in a negative way of some kind. And that could either mean that it's leading to pain or dysfunction or whatever. But now the nervous system is just not functioning properly. So a lot of chiropractors will say, well, we're correcting subluxation. We're actually not. We are adjusting subluxation. And then the innate intelligence corrects the subluxation. So like the internal doctor of the human being is unlocked to do what it's designed to do. And so that is the true essence of what we are preaching in here. We don't ever take credit for the healing. We don't take credit for anything other than just we're here to find subluxation, adjust it, and then watch God do what he's going to do with it from there. Cool? Okay, we have a few more minutes. Just want to, again, shout out. Thank you guys for joining Skool. We already have over 100 members, and we're looking to continue to grow it. So if you guys are not a member of Skool yet, highly encourage you to join. Click the link below and join. And we highly encourage you to join as a premium member. There is a free version where you can just see, all the discussion posts, and there's a couple really great resources in there as a free member that you get. You get a Salutogenic Home Audit. Again, we talked about Salutogenic today, which is like what is the thing that's most promoting of health. And you can do a whole audit of your entire home from a salutogenic worldview and see where are things that you can improve to make the biggest impact in your child's life. And there's a couple other free guides in there to help you get things started in the kitchen, to help make some really healthy, delicious meals that your kids will actually enjoy, that actually helps their brain development. So it's super, super awesome, easy things that we have in there as free resources. But as a premium member, you get access to all of these calls. We're going to continue this conversation there, so you get access to that, all the replays of the old ones. And you'll get in there this whole 12-week at-home course that I built called Build a Regulated Home from A to Z. And in there's a ton of information, tactical things to do to actually go step by step and really help make your home the best healing four walls that your kids experience. So all that's in there. It's for you. Highly encourage you to join. And that's all. See you in there. All right. Are we just on Skool now?